Respect voor je kijkje.
Каждый никого. Что маме.
Okay, that was a bit tricky, but it's okay. I love failures, I love mistakes, and it's a very good intro for my speech today. So, whose is this song? Do you guys know that song? That theme of the song? No, it's not Bregovic, but it could be. It's a good potential for a Bregovic song. Okay, so that song is a song that is very popular in the Balkan region, and there has been a documentary made about it because all the countries in the Balkan region, about 6 countries, claim to be their song. So the melody is the same, but each country has a different version of the lyrics. So in one country it's a love song, in another country it's a military anthem, in another country it's a nationalistic song, in another country it's a religious song. So, you know, they took the melody and then they changed the lyrics to make it their own. And there's a big struggle, you know, like figuring out whose song is this? And of course, this will never come to a conclusion. But today, based on that, based on those differences between the countries in our region, I want to speak to you about how I see the entrepreneurial future of Central and Eastern Europe. Where do I point this thing? Okay. So actually today is my anniversary, 6-year anniversary of joining a global organization that worked a lot with entrepreneurial education. Startup Weekend, I don't know if you guys, how many of you heard about it. But basically 6 years ago, I started working for them as a designer. And one led to the other. I was their web administrator for a while. I fixed bugs for like 2.5 years for the whole global community. And eventually, because I am Romanian originally, I became very passionate about the community because I started traveling around the region and meeting the pioneers of the entrepreneurial revolution that engulfed our region about 5-6 years ago, and seeing a lot of similarities between our countries. But usually we tend to focus on the differences that we have. So for example, I was once in Slovakia and, you know, talking about Central and Eastern Europe, and I said Eastern Europe, and everybody's like, we are Central Europe. I was like, really, is this what you choose to focus on? On the fact that, you know, you want to associate yourself being closer to Austria than actually being closer culturally to Eastern Europe. Even though the level of corruption in the countries was pretty much the same. We did a comparison between Poland, Slovakia, and Romania, whose government stole the most money via the road infrastructure grants from European Union, but it was about the same. So I call myself a social innovation architect just because I do a lot of things and I can't really pinpoint, you know, I'm not as cool as Fion to be like, I'm a designer. But anyway, you guys heard about Tesla, right? Have you heard of Marie Curie? Come on, work with me here. Okay. Jet engine, the insulin, the Rubik's Cube, the matches, and Star Wars would be a lot more boring if it wouldn't be for the hologram. Those are all things that were created in Central and Eastern Europe. So we are known, you know, for centuries, we have been creating a lot of cool stuff. And then this happened, and our innovative spirit got shut down a little bit for quite a few decades. And we fought against it eventually, our parents, our grandparents, and we ended up like this. This is my generation. And it's, in 1989, I remember the revolution to overthrow communism. I actually had to run away from home with my parents because, well, I'll tell you the story in private sometimes. But this is how we were. And because of the situation that we had, it was a power void. And a lot of people, I'm trying really hard to be nice here, but okay, let's call them opportunists, took over, a lot of things that were happening or that were available in our countries. And because of that, the situation got like this. It was, you know what happened. I don't need to go into it. But corruption, bureaucracy, thieves and liars and bullies, and the political situation was a mess, economical crisis, a lot of people got into the wrong places, and it's, whatever. I think it's very important to learn from our mistakes, and this happened in all the countries in Central and Eastern Europe. In some of them it happened faster, in some of them it took a longer time. Moldova just got a government recently, a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you've been watching the news. And by the way, I moved here 3 months ago from London. And it's very interesting, not understanding what's going on even now. I don't know what's going on. Politically in Moldova is a mess. And it's important to learn from our mistakes. Do you guys watch the Oscars? It was very embarrassing, right? But the whole community, the whole audience clapped and encouraged her. And I think that because of the history that we had in all our countries, we developed a culture of shame towards failure. And we have panels, like we had the one before, about talking, how we can support the ecosystem, how can we build more startups, how can we do this, help people become more innovative. But nobody really talks about the culture, and nobody talks about changing the mentality of people, and nobody talks about taking risks. And you hear the Americans especially, oh, Europe is risk adverse. They don't like taking risks. They're very comfortable in their, little European Union, whatever. But I disagree. I think that Central and Eastern Europe is not like Western Europe. We take a lot of risk. Every day is risky for us. We have to wake up and go to work and put up with a lot of shit that happens. So we are risk. We know how to do risk. The thing is that we use it in the wrong way. Just look at how many of us are smoking. I quit a month ago, kind of like fitting in what, Dragos was saying earlier. I'm with the people that quit smoking, going to the gym. But anyway, we are risk takers. And because of that, a lot of us leave. We leave our countries. I left Romania about 11 years ago. I moved to the States for a while. And we are needed. Our expertise, our technical talent is needed abroad. And this is an article that I saw a few days ago about London. The growth in software development has been responsible for the biggest share of tech growth. I lived in London for 3 years, and let me tell you that they do not have enough techies. So whenever they hear about Central and Eastern Europe, they all lit up. It was like, oh yeah, that's where the smart people are. We need them. How do we get them here? And because of that, a lot of people leave from Central and Eastern Europe. Or there's another thing that is happening. The outsourcing market is really big. We have a lot of companies that come here, and it's good. It's good for the economy. It helps job creation. But is it really good? I could have done a lot more graphs and tell you numbers, but this stuff you can Google yourself if you're interested in the outsourcing industry. There are a lot of organizations that put together reports. There's outsourcing, outsource Ukraine, outsource Romania, and there's a lot of things that you can research. So I'm not going to go into that. And it's important to have these outsourcing companies. It's important for us to go abroad and experience how is life there and take the best things about their culture. Everybody says Eastern Europe is 10 to 15 years behind Western Europe, behind the Western world. But I disagree. I don't think you can be behind something that you haven't been on the same path with for decades or even centuries. We are not behind them. We are going on a different road. We have a different development. We have a different background. And that is very important to be aware of. Because so far, revolutions happen like this. Some of us lived through them. And the future will be different. And I think that we, all the generations in this room, have the opportunity, have one of the greatest opportunities in centuries. And this is because technology. And we are witnessing a digital revolution. And this is one of the advantages that we have as a region, is that our academic background is very strong regarding science and math and engineering. We are pretty clever. And we need to put aside the differences that we have between the regions. You know what the guys talked about earlier here. How do we do this, and how does Poland work? How does Moldova work? What do we need to do to be one like the other? We need to work together better. We need to figure out ways on how we can share best practices. And the success stories that we are building as a region, we can share with each other. And we can look, Moldova, for example, Estonia has, you know how Estonia works. It's amazing with their government and everything that they did with electronics. And Moldova is following that path in a way. And they have a very, they're developing a very strong e-government here. They have a lot of open data that I'm sure a lot of you don't know about, but you should look into it and use it. And you can start creating social change. And instead of looking at those success stories that are about money and making, getting funded and exiting your company, selling your company, you can start thinking about what you can do to improve the way that your society works. That all the countries in this region, overcome the issues that we have as post-communist countries. And yes, we do speak different languages, and yes, we have different lyrics for the same theme song, but we do speak a common language, and that is science and technology. And no matter what country we come from, we will understand each other. We can create programs, we can create, we can create software that will help improve the way that our societies work. And this way we will become, in the future, it's a very slow change that has to happen. It's a change of mentality, it's a change of culture. We have to fight against our parents, against our friends that tell us to keep our steady, comfortable job in an outsourcing company or whatever. But I think that it can happen, and we do have the potential. When you see the hands-on experience with entrepreneurship is not that great in our region. Not a lot of people that do entrepreneurship choose to leave. Some of them come back, fortunately, and become angel investors. It happened in Romania, it happened in a lot of countries, I'm sure. But people that stay in the countries, they all go, I want to go global, I want to make money, I want to become a billionaire overnight. But it's not what we should be focusing on right now, at least. It's actually focused on changing the way that we think and changing the way that our countries work in order to be more capable of becoming innovative again and changing the world in other ways. Okay.
Thank you so much, Anca.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.